did a fundraiser for Lincoln Memorial University in Knoxville, and she had Con Henley sing. And Con Henley came up to my son Zane at one point and said, Zane, do you think your dad would mind if I got him to sing a song with him? Zane said, mind? He would love it. Said it would make his night, but said it would ruin everybody else's. And I'm sitting here a minute ago thinking too that I don't know, several months ago, Lynn and I were eating breakfast one morning at the Lenore City Hardee's. Big crowd there that morning, and a fellow walked in. And I don't remember his name, but somebody hollered out and said, how you doing, bud? He said, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, and I got plenty of money. And the whole place just erupted. Everything was positive. I can't say I'm looking good, I don't have plenty of money, but I do feel good, and I'm glad to be here with you, and especially to be here with some people that I really admire. First, let me pay my respects to Melissa. I have said many times before that the county chairmen and chairwomen are the unsung heroes of our party, and I appreciate Melissa and how hard she works for our party. And then it's always a pleasure to be here with your hometown hero, Jimmy Matlock. And I have said several times that I think Jimmy votes more like I would if I was in the legislature than just about anybody there. And he and we share the same philosophy, and I really admire and respect Jimmy Matlock. And of course, I haven't known Kent as long, but we're certainly lucky to have a man like him in the legislature. And then I got to say thank you to my friend Randy McNally. Randy and I have been around a long time, and I had the privilege of campaigning for Randy the first time he ran. And I have never regretted that, because he is a man of the highest integrity, and he is one of the most powerful men in Nashville, but he goes about it in a very low-key, humble way, which I think fits in pretty well with the people of Loudon County and East Tennessee. I always have said many times that my wife Lynn is my #1 supporter. She actually had a full-fledged stroke January 1st, and she has recovered magnificently from that. She still has some problems from it, but she told me that was January 1st, and so she got her sense of humor back pretty quick. President Obama came to Knoxville on January 9th, and Lynn told me to tell President Obama that when she found out he was coming to Knoxville, she got so upset she had a stroke. Let me just, I know you're anxious to hear Congressman Phil Rowe. I almost forgot to do this. Ryan Haynes, State Representative Ryan Haynes. You won't know this, but Ryan grew up a large part of the time at our house. He was my son Zane's best friend. And Ryan was over at our house so much, I've referred to him as my third son. And I'm really proud of Ryan and the job that he's done in the state legislature. And I think you're going to be hearing great things from Ryan all through the future years ahead. I want to say just a couple of things. You know, the Democrats do a really good job of putting out a false image of their party. They always say over and over and over again that they're for the little guy or they're for the middle class, when everything they do hurts the little guy in the middle class worst of all. They had a Secretary of Energy in this administration up until last year that said repeatedly that we need to pay the same price for gas that they pay over in Europe, $8 or $9 a gallon. That's the kind of people that are in this administration up there. They said they passed Dodd-Frank, a banking bill to get back at the big Wall Street banks. You know what happened? When you overregulate or you put the federal government too much into any industry, it ends up more in the hands of the big giants. And so they passed that Dodd-Frank bill, the Democrats did. The deposits in the biggest banks in the country went up from 29.5% to 45%, and a little over 200 small banks went out of existence. And you see that in every industry. Big government liberals have made medical care unaffordable by almost everybody except maybe Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. And it's because the federal government got into it too much. They took college tuition fees. The big government liberals have made college almost unaffordable for the middle class. An economist at Ohio University wrote a book a few years ago called Going Broke by Degree. Now we have people in this country, students and people who aren't in school any longer, have a student loan debt totaling $1,300 billion, and some economists think it's going to be the next bubble to burst. The true people, the true party that is for the little guy and for the middle class in this country is the Republican Party, and I hope you're proud to be Republican. You are the people who are for the free enterprise system, private property, and individual freedom, the things that have made this country great and have given us the greatest nation on the face of this earth. I have heard statistics like this all through the years, but I read a few months ago that 58% of the people in this world have to get by on $4 or less a day. There's about 7 billion people in the world. That means there's about 4 billion that are having to get by on $4 or less a day. I tell the kids, I've spoken over 1,000 times in schools. I spoke to 3 just the other day at Halls Elementary and 2 schools up in Clayton County. And I tell those kids all the time, I said, you know, we are blessed beyond our belief to live in this country. You got 4 billion people who are hoping they're going to get one good meal today and probably aren't. And I am very sincere when I say that we would not have what we have in this country today if the Democratic Party was the most conservative party in this country. We would have a socialist economy or worse. And let me say one other thing, and then I'm going to introduce the speaker. They said in 2008, they said or implied that if you weren't for President Obama, it was racist. That was one of the biggest lies that's ever come down the pipe. I spoke to a Republican dinner in Athens. 300 or 400 people were there that night, about a week or 10 days before that election. And I said, you know, that's what they're saying or implying. They've been saying it ever since. And I said, I know that everybody there that night, if the Republicans had a conservative black man like Clarence Thomas or somebody, a conservative black man with the views of Ronald Reagan, and the Democrats had a white man, a white man running with the far left views of Barack Obama, everybody there that night would have voted for that conservative black man. I could say the same thing about all of you. So that shows right there, it's not about race. It's about beliefs and philosophy. And beliefs and philosophy make a difference. They really do. And if this country is going to be strong, as we want it to be for our children and grandchildren, it's going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be on your shoulders and people like you all over this country. We need you now. This nation needs you now more than probably any time in the history of this country. Now let me introduce one of the men who I appreciate